me. I'm Kenny Glick. But today I'm disguised as Alex Karp, my hero. And I hear an echo. Baba Booey, do you hear that echo too? All right, it's probably on my end. Let me just lower the volume on something here. And then we're going to get started. And we're going to get started because I'm going to talk such. Uh, oh, yeah, we can curse on this show. I'm going to talk such shit right now that you're not going to believe it, nor should you, right? But let's talk about Alex Karp for a second, my hero. I'm not a fan of investing in individual stocks. I'm a QQQ guy. It's all I've ever needed, and all it's anybody ever needs. I don't even know how this industry is going to exist for the next 10 or 15 years. I'm talking about hedge fund managers. Like, why would anybody pay 20% to have your money being managed by someone who's pretending to beat the market? Nobody beats the market. Nobody beats the Qs. And if you guys don't know the QQQ, go learn about the QQQ. It's phenomenal. And now that has daily options, we trade the Qs more than anything. But if you don't know who I am, my name is Kenny Glick, and I've been trading since the womb. Uh, and that might sound ridiculous, but as soon as I was born, my father bought me a mutual fund. So I've been trading since I was born. And he's taught me, a lot about what I've learned. And, circa 1994, 95, when I kind of dipped my toe in the industry, I got jaded and cynical and, really soured on it very quickly because I worked at the Boiler Room, the one that the movie with Ben Affleck and the whole thing. I lived that life. I lived that scene with the keys, people abusing me about the awful suit that I was wearing, telling me to spend money that I didn't have, and pitching bullshit stocks that didn't exist. And I didn't know they didn't exist until I learned. And I learned the hard way. And to the point where actually, when I went to my managers at the time and asked, hey, we're actually making money on this trade. Think I could sell some and maybe make money for my clients? Nobody sells. And if you want to sell it, you got to sell it to somebody else. And I was like, can't we just press the sell button and it goes to the market like normal stocks? No, you have to sell it to somebody else. So I actually had to get on the phone, pitch the stock to somebody else to sell it out of my client's account. That's not how the market's supposed to work. And inevitably, I said, hey, you got to let some of my guys out. Most of their stocks are awful. We're actually up 40% on this name. You got to let them out. They wouldn't let them out. And I said, what if I told my clients to call the SEC and do an investigation of why they can't sell stocks? And then suddenly everybody's face changed, and I was threatened with bodily harm. Is that what you're going to do? That's what I was told. Is that what you're going to do? And next thing you know, I was like, maybe I'm not going to do that, but this is my last day here. Farewell and enjoy yourself. And then within hours, and when I got home and I started calling some of my clients, they had all been called by everybody at my firm, and they all said I was the bad guy and I was the criminal. And I was like, that's what they're telling you. See if you could send a market order on any of your stocks and get out, and we'll know who the real criminal is. And that was my last day as a broker. And that was 3 different firms. They all had the same attitude. So that's why when day trading became a thing, I was like, ooh, now I don't have to answer to anybody. I don't have to make phone calls. I traded for a few guys. They gave me some money to trade. And I traded my own account. We commingled. And off to the races I was. And even the 2 people that I was trading their money for, when they were getting stacks of commissions slips, they're like, wait a minute, you did 18 trades in one day? I mean, what are you, churning my account? I'm like, no, that's what day trading is. At the end of the day, did we make money? Yeah, but the commissions were 220 and I only made 200 that day. Did you make the 200? And they didn't want to do it. They didn't, because we were charging, again, that's how before day trading, before you got your own account and just traded your own money, I would trade other people's money for commission, right? And that's kind of how the structure was laid out. I don't even know if that exists anymore. I mean, I guess you could do it, but those 2 clients kind of went away. They didn't really want to be trading that often, even though we were making money, which was ridiculous. And that's how I was born into day trading, and I've been doing it ever since. And since, you know, I'm talking about the onset of day trading. And if anybody wants something to read, I got something for you. Hang on a second. Well, you know what you can do, and I'm going to invite you, if you are listening, I hope you are, on Thursday night, probably this Thursday night and the following Thursday, I do this thing during earnings season where we get together and we call it the schmooze. It was born out of COVID, kind of getting together to prepare for option expiration when weekly options were becoming commonplace. A lot of tech stocks we report on Thursday night, and we get together Thursday night and plan our attack for the next day. So let me get my screen up, get my face, get some of this stuff up. I want to show you some stuff here. And again, I like telling a little background about myself because I'm assuming some people don't know who I am. You should. You should know who I am. I'm not to be sounding arrogant or conceited. I'm the kind of guy that you need in your corner, especially if you're learning to day trade. I invented day trading. I know you might got a chuckle out of that comment itself, but I did. Day trading did not exist. The term, we coined the phrase. A lot of what we do today has foundations in what we were doing in the early 90s. You know, the market makers, the market maker boxes you see, they're not even the same as they used to be. Back in 94, 95, a retail trader, again, that was not a well used phrase. That phrase came from us. We became retail traders. You didn't have access to the level twos. You didn't see the market makers. And here now the market makers are called ECNs, right? Originally, you had people that were on the box. You saw Goldman Sachs, Merrill Lynch, you saw Bank of America, and you become familiar with what market maker was in control of the stock that day. We called them the axe or the hammer. And the idea of tape reading, which I don't want to blow your brains out here, but tape reading, if anybody says they tape read now, doesn't exist. It doesn't work. The idea of tape reading was looking at volume and getting familiar with what market makers were moving the market, and you had a an advantage for the first time. You did, because if you saw a stock was moving and every time it started to move higher, Goldman Sachs was the first guy to go high bid, you knew Goldman Sachs was a legitimate buyer. Now, you don't know what they're doing. They're spoofing you. They're putting big size on the offer when a stock wants to go up. They're stacking bids, which gives you that illusion of support, and then they just pull the bids. It's more algorithmic now than ever, and you really don't have market makers raising their hand, presenting themselves with real buyers or sellers. It's all bullshit game. So the idea of tape reading doesn't really exist anymore. But what does exist is what we do now for a living. We, as day traders, have only one way out, and that's to follow the money, right? To follow the money. And how do you follow the money? Volume. And what's the number one volume indicator there is? Does anybody know what I'm talking about? Is anybody have any idea what I'm about to say? The number one volume indicator. Anybody? Anyone? Anyone guy in the back? I'll wait. There you go, VWAP, right. So you got your VWAP, right? Hang on a second. Let me make sure this is up and running. So now, and again, and let me say this with a smile on my face. I could talk about myself for 4 or 5 hours. I got stories for days. We'll fast forward. Zzz, right? Everything I've learned has brought me to this point. I've been doing this for 30 years, legitimately been in the market since the day I was born, right? All right. Google me. You'll learn a little bit more about me. I've been called a lot of things: criminally negligent, off-putting, condescending, arrogant. And my new favorite phrase, somebody called me, what was it called? Intolerable. Thank you. I had a lot of teachers say that when I was a kid, and my mom. Intolerable, right? Because sometimes my attitude towards the market rubs people the wrong way. I treat the market as a manipulated, rigged video game. But here's the thing, I could prove it. And I've subscribed to every service, every newsletter. My dad and I were, back in the day, we'd have newsletters mailed to you. Shout out Stephen Lieb. We've been involved in everything, right? So I've been around. I've never found something that works every time. I don't think anybody has. But for the last 3 years, all right, I'm going to talk real slow now. For the last 3 years, we have a setup that has provided us a winning trade 100% of the time, not one loss. Since 2012, since we've been using this specific setup, I've roughly put it at around 75% win rate. But over the last 3 years, we haven't had one loss on the setup of this specific trade. Let that sink in. Now, you're probably saying to yourself, this is some bullshit. I'd be saying the same thing, especially with this wig on. That's some bullshit. Nothing works every time. It does. And that's why I say, why not come to my website? And again, this is what I've been doing my whole life. I love proving people wrong, right? And again, for one thing, it's not me. I'm not making these trades happen. I'm like the Christopher Columbus of this trade. The trade, one of the first trades I ever learned, the reversal trade, is when a stock goes from red to green or green to red. Second phase is that I learned, hey, you know when that trade works even better? When stocks are reporting earnings. Because if they're gapped up on earnings and they roll over and they go red, most of the time they go lower. You got a gap down stock, people take advantage of that. The shorters will cover some, the longs take advantage of the dip, and quite often that stock will gap down on earnings and go green, and you actually have a much better trade. You have a good trade. So that trade's been working since I've been doing it. Fast forward 2012, 2013, where I discovered volume weighted average price as a day trading tool, and all my conspiracy theories about manipulation, now I see it. Because stocks go to and fro, they ebb and flow to very specific prices based on volume weighted average price for today and prior volume weighted average price, also known as anchored or multiple time frame VWAP, all described wonderfully here by Brian Shannon in his second series in the Anchored VWAP book. One of the only books I've ever read about trading. And if you do come to the website, I have the other 2 books that I'd like to share with you. It's called So's Bandits, the story of how I became a trader, So's Small Order Execution System, and the lovely and wonderful, let me show it to you online, it's a book called Why Traders Fail. And I think it's only $4 on YouTube. Let me see if I can find it for you right off. I don't think I have it up. Here it is. So a few years ago, and now it's going to be like almost 10 years ago, I think, our friend here, Jeff, he contacted all of us. And Brian Shannon's in the book, I'm in the book, we're all in the book. And he's like, what's the dumbest thing you've done? What's the worst trade? What mistakes do you find yourself making? And he just interviewed us and then wrote a book about it. This is the holy grail of trading, because every mistake that anybody's ever made, it's in the book. And it's just nice to see it in black and white. If you come to my website, I'll give it to you for nothing. I got the manuscript. But we'll give you more details. And the best way to contact me, you could contact me directly, Kenny Glick at AOL.com. Yes, I'm that old. AOL. Kenny Glick at AOL. Or you could go right to my corporate overlords and send an email to Kenny at hitthebid.tv. And that'll go right to my handlers. and you say, I just saw this dude on YouTube. I need more of this guy in my life. And they will set you up with a free trial. So going back to what I said, my business model is scam proof and it's flawless and it's beautiful. Why? Because everybody talks shit in this industry, right? Everybody. The track record guy, and we'll get to more of that in a second. But everybody's talking shit, right? So I see a lot of kids with their Lambos. I reach out, hey, you seem to know what you're doing. You got a Lamborghini. Can I have a free trial to your website? We don't do free trials. Well, then you're a scam artist. Thank you. If you don't offer a free trial, you're dismissed. If you're not able to prove what you're saying, you're a charlatan. I relish that moment. I talk shit, but then within 20 minutes of meeting me, well, sometimes it might take an hour or two, sometimes a day or two. Give me 2 weeks, I'll change the way you look at the market, and it'll be the better way to look at it. And I'll also show you how the market's rigged, and I'll show you right here with one of our favorite trades of the day, which was on hinge. And you'll see the rigging, right? Again, very clean chart, right? Beautiful. Not much on there because I don't need much. It's taken me 30 years to figure out less is more. Almost nothing is even better because what you're looking at on my chart is a blue line and an orange line. The blue line's today's VWAP. The orange line is what we call multiple time frame. Brian calls it anchor. He anchors it to certain thing. I have it strategically anchored for me based on what I've learned has been the proper place to anchor it. And I have it built where it does it automated. So once you join my website, I give you the script that builds the chart for you, and you will see this is all you'll ever need to be a profitable trader. No moving averages, no stochastics, no Bollinger Bands, no Ichiro clouds, or if you go to the study section, somebody swears by every one of these, right? You like the David Elliott SW Advanced Mobio Transformer LBR John Parson Indicator PMC? Sure you do. The fuck is that? I don't even know. Who cares? Look at all this stuff. Look at all the things you could choose to put on your charts. Look at it. It just keeps going and going. The impulse, the 4-point per model, the DMI, the CSI, the Aaron oscillator, the linear recession. It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. VWAP cuts through all of it. VWAP tells you where the institutional money's coming. That's what you need, right? Schmucks like you and I buying 600 shares of Palantir ain't moving the market. You want to know where the institutional money's going, right? That's what VWAP is. So if you just follow the VWAP, you're going to be on the right side of the trade. So let's go. So if you were with us this morning, right? You would have came in with a few symbols: Palantir, NVTS, HIMS. Why? They reported earnings. There's another one, SRAD also. Right? There was another one also, Caterpillar. We'll get to it. Remind me to get through all the names too, by the way, if you're paying attention. But I go with the ones that are most popular because that's where more volume is. And we're volume-weighted average price traders. So more volume, more better. So let's go through what is the trade that works every time. Good thing you asked. It's this trade. So what we do for a living now, after me getting my ass kicked plenty of times over the last 30 years, I've blown my account up. And mind you, never blown up on long trades. Risk is defined. I've blown up most of my accounts. Shorting the Qs was a monster disaster in my life for about 2 years. I just didn't want to give up. Absolutely got annihilated. Most of my worst trades have been shorts. And I have finally come to the realization that, you know what? If you're going to short something, it's basically a fade and that's it. Shorting is short-lived and you're going to die. Shorting doesn't work. So my long-only traders, which you could get yourself in trouble as a long-only trader because you're not really in the ebb and flow of the market, 2025, you're long only, you're good. Sure, it's nice to know how to short stocks, and I'll show you. It's more of a fade, but shorting is short-lived, and you're going to die. It's almost to the point where there's no point in doing it because you just might as well wait for the buyers to show up, the shorters to get squeezed, and that's the better move. So maybe shorting will become a little bit more viable, you know, at some point this year. It's been virtually impossible. We did it today, and I'll show you how you do it. It's very disciplined trade, but I'd rather squeeze everybody and buy everything in sight and be a participant in the everything goes up rally, right? So let's talk about it. Here you got a stock, Hims, right? Anybody like this stock? I don't. I think they're a scam. I think the company's going to go out of business. I think the company's being investigated. I think the company's a scam. I think the stock is going to zero. Who cares what I think, right? But I'm not the only one that thinks this company's a scam. So I know that's out there, which makes it better to buy. The scammier, the more disgusting, the more awful you feel about a stock, the better the upside move. Because there's people, and I call them morons at this point, morons, who think you could bet against the market. You can't. I'm living proof. Every one of my blow-ups over the last 30 years has been shorting. Never blew up buying stocks. Never got my ass kicked buying stocks. There's always a limit to the downside. It can only go to zero. You shorten things, you have unlimited risk, and it could get pretty damn ugly. So I take that into consideration. I hate the stock. I want it to go to zero, right? But then I realize I only trade a setup that works every time. So it's not about what I think, right? It's about what is happening. So when I came in, I saw Hims reported earnings. I said, oh, here we go. And I was happy to see it getting smacked from last night, right? So here's the smackdown. Smackdown. So what I do is I take these levels from where the smackdown happened last night, and I take that into consideration, right? So it bottomed out here. It tried to rally. It rolled over, kind of held it. So we're just talking about price. These aren't moving averages. I draw my own price levels. And then I go into it the next day. And you see how the levels that meant something last night are now meaning something this morning. So again, I don't think anybody's up trading at 2 or 3 in the morning, right? But at 4 in the morning, wham, there's the VWAP break on an earnings report, and the stock ripped, right? But that's not the best trade because nobody's up that early. So when you came in, what time you guys wake up? About 7, 7:15, 7:30? I'm looking at Hims, and I'm thinking, hey, this stock is down on earnings. Our default, right, as VWAP earnings reversion traders is no matter what the stock is, I don't care if they actually announce that their pills are killing people and they don't grow hair. By the way, this is a Hims pill. I don't care. The earnings are out. That's your catalyst. And the earnings were, quote unquote, I guess, bad. Doesn't matter. It's all about what the stock is doing and how it's reacting. So you got a checklist. Did they report earnings? Yes. Is it gap down? Yes. What's our default? We're looking to buy it. Why? Because it reported earnings and it's gap down. So now, instead of being a speculator, you're now a hunter. You're a fisherman. And you've gone to your spot. Now you're waiting. All right. I heard there's some good trades around here somewhere. All right, cool. I'm looking for that hinge trade. All right. Hey, look, it's going down. I thought we were buying it. Yes, we are. So when do we buy it? We buy it after you get a Fo Sho Bro. So if you're just joining me, welcome to the Fo Sho Bro show. Fo Sho Bro. This trade has been working for me ever since 1994. One of the first trades I found that was a profitable setup. So the market has an uncanny ability to shake people out, right? Oh, I was just in it, and then it went down, and I got out, then it went back up. Raise your hand if you've said that to yourself out loud at least 1,000 times over the last couple of years. Of course, because that's the market mechanics. It's literally trying to get people out because the orders are out there. The market makers have their order. They know what they're going to do. So they're working their order. They don't want to make it easy on you. They know what they're going to do. So they chop the stock around, faux show it, fake out, shake out, and then it makes its move. So this trade's been working ever since I was a rookie trader where we didn't have pre-market activity. So what I noticed is the stocks would like to break recent lows, right? And then they would come back. So when you see a stock that, let's assume you bought it up here, where are you going to place stops? You're going to place stops at prior lows and prior lows. You see how the opening candle went and got those people. But I'm talking about this move right here, where it broke VWAP, broke another, a recent low, then it comes back above the VWAP and starts to go up. Now, the reason this trade is such a wonderful trade is that normally I'd be a buyer right here. So we would wait for the fake out, shake out, and then we buy the breakout. Faux, show, and then we buy the 930 high candle. Like if it broke, that's the 930 high candle. There's the 930 high candle break. Right? Now, I took that trade, and because I only use VWAP and prior day VWAP and exclusively now, it's getting me into the trade quite often sooner than I would have normally bought it on a trade that I've already know works. And now I have where to buy it and more importantly, where to sell it, what my target is. Because what I've discovered since doing this trade since 2012, and this is the trade that we haven't had one loss on in 3 years now. It's basically about 1,100 of these in a row. It's absurd. It's frightening. It's ridiculous to say it out loud, but every day I say, all right, well, show me one that's not working. And I can't find one. They're all working. This is the greatest trading market I have ever seen. So if you come in and you check those boxes, did they report earnings? Yes, they did. Are they gap down? They certainly are. Is it breaking VWAP? Yes, buy it. Buy it. Because VWAP breaks on stocks that are gap down on earnings quite often rally. And that's just your first part of the trade. When your rally starts to ensue, stocks now like to do what? They like to revert. Guy in the back, you know what that means? We'll use simpler terms for you. Goes back to. Stocks that break today's VWAP tend to go back to the area that is the most influential, which is a combination of today's VWAP and our special sauce. I won't tell you the whole intricacies of our mathematical formula, but look how it got to the orange line and then it made a home there, meaning you found resistance. Blue line, orange line. Faux-Show-Bro, earnings report, blue line, orange line. Now, again, as a day trader, you're buying a stock at 55.70 and it goes to 61. Pretty damn good trade, right? And that was just part of the trade. Because then, remember, the reversal part hadn't even happened yet, right? So what's the reversal part, Kenny? Good question. The reversal part is when the stock actually breaks back over the prior close. So you weren't even at the prior close yet. So that was our next goal. And then again, you see it, it went through 63.35, but then petered out up there, right? But when you have today's VWAP, prior day VWAP, and now watch this. This is 2 days worth of VWAP. Really wasn't giving you much more of a target, but what I programmed my script to do is give me multiple time frame and then grab more data and then grab more data. You see it now, right? That's your 3 day, right? So now look at the 4 day. How you doing? So when I say the market's rigged and I say I could prove it, that's it. That's me proving that the market's rigged. It's rigged to VWAP. And by the way, if anybody's short right now, I'm gonna come to your house. I'm gonna bash your head in. By the way, you need me in your life. We were short the Qs for about an hour today, and it was awesome because we got a 1 minute multi-day reversal and we got paid. But nobody's delusional enough to think you're going to be able to stay short all day in a market that never goes down, are you? Did you just say, well, what about Friday? What about Friday? You get maybe 2 of those days a year now. Don't think you're going to ever milk a short position ever again. We're about to rally another probably 100% from here. And if you think I'm joking, I'm not joking. You don't think we're about to go to Dow 80,000 and the Qs are going to be flirting with 1,000 in the next 2 or 3 years? What market are you watching? We just started a new bull market, and they're usually good for 3 years. And this time we're going to double from here again. Like it or not. And I'm a bear. I ain't getting in the way of the market. That's been my downfall. All right, so anyway, let's go back to the hinge trade. So when you have your reason to buy, and that then gets confirmed, hey, I'm thinking about buying this hinge. Oh, look, it's breaking VWAP. Buy it. And what's wonderful about the trade is that the multiple time frame VWAPs are giving you the targets. 1, 2, to the 3, to the 4. So it had every target that you needed. You had your reason to buy. And now, remember, we're pessimists, right? I go into every trade thinking, all right, if it doesn't work, where am I getting out? Great question. So if you're buying VWAP breaks, the fake out and the shakeout areas are your stops. So when you look at this chart and you say to yourself, okay, well, the easy potential, and I say easy with quotation fingers, the easy potential is the stock's going to get to around 61. You following, right? So if you're buying here, right, at 55.83, your risk is about $1 because the lows of the day, the pivot point is one stop and the second low is your second stop. And that's it. Those are your stops. You don't let stocks roll back over and break back below the pivot points from the fake out and the shakeout. You following? And this is the trade. Every single trade we take is an exact replica of this trade. And why wouldn't you do this trade after me telling you we're at about 1,030 of them in a row for the last 3 years without one loss? Not one loss, not one loss. Now, I'm not telling you that you're going to be sitting in this trade from your entry at 9:36 till 4 p.m. because obviously I've ruined the surprise. The stock actually became a decent short inevitably. But during this move, if you're buying something at $55 and it went to 65 and you somehow managed to lose on that trade, you probably shouldn't be trading. And when you have these targets, what are targets for? To chiggity ching, cash out, right? So when you get to those targets, you're buying here or here. And again, I'm not going to bullshit you. I'm selling at 57.50, right? Because I love money. I'm in from 56. This thing goes to 57.50. And if you know why 57.50 is important, you should. Because stocks that trade in the 50s generally move in 2.5 point increments. So 55 gets you 57.50, 57.50 gets you 60. That's why once it got over 60, I was looking for 62.50. Plus, that notion is just an idea. Again, it still does work to this day. That's been working for 30, 40 years, the 2.5 point increment, $50 stocks, right? This trade wasn't just good. It was epic because you had $1 of risk to possibly make 10. So take a step back and just do regular math. If every trade you take, you're risking $1 to make 10, and you hit one, right, you could now lose on the next 9 trades. With proper risk management, you're still ahead. And the wonderful thing is this trade continues to work, which is awesome. So let's show you the other ones. This trade was phenomenal. Now, if I got a couple of questions I know in my head, right? Can you trade options with this setup? Yes. Let me show you how you can. And why I love Thinkorswim is you could chart the option itself on the same chart. So I trade at the money weekly options. Never have to ask me again. Which option you trading? At the money, closest to expiration. At the money, closest to expiration. So what do you think we went with? 55, 56, 57s, right? So here's what you do. You go to the drop-down menu, right? And then it gets populated there. So there's the $56 calls, right? At the money, weekly. And now you see it on the chart. So instead of buying the stock for $55, you're buying a contract here for 3 that went to 5, 6, 7, and 8. Same trade. You just parlay it into the option trade. And by the way, I know more about options than anybody. I've been trading options since nobody traded options. There were days where the option contracts would have 0 volume. Nobody cared about options basically in 1995, 96. It was like a dead market. Now it's the greatest thing ever because it's dollar increments, weekly expirations, and on the QQQ, 0 date options is the greatest invention in the history of the market. And if you're not participating in some 0 date QQQ trades, you should be. Because now you have the ability to buy a $500 stock for $2. It's awesome. And if you use this trade and this setup that works basically every time it shows up, very difficult to lose money. And if you'd like to learn more, and again, what I'm doing here is what I'm about to do. On August 16th, I'm going to get together. This is why I really love helping people, and I really do. I mean, it's my existence. And if you find purpose in life, you're blessed, right? So I live a very charmed life. I get to help people, and I get to make money doing it. I'm blessed. I'm very charmed. This is my purpose in life. And if you talk to my wife, I really don't do anything else. I don't have any skills. And I was just thinking of the other day, I don't even know if I could change a tire at this point. I know nothing. I know nothing about anything else. I don't pretend like people on Facebook and Twitter. They're all experts at everything, right? I don't pretend. I know this, and that's good enough. So what the hell was I just talking about? All right, this trade. So if you continuously find these trades and bring them, and then you could parlay them into options, it's going to be very difficult to lose. When's the Q's going to 1040? April 28th, April 20th, 2028, 1:43 p.m. Be there. So let me show you a couple other trades that we did today. And if you know it, you should. Its name is NVTS, right? NVTS. Now, all the red lines are where we were putting our stops and our offers. So let me walk you through it, right? So let's go through the checkbooks. By the way, big fan of the lift right now. They got some really interesting news. I think the stock's about to go back to 15, maybe 1750. I've been waiting to buy it all day, and yeah, there you go. There's your fake out, shakeout, VWAP break. I'm not in it. I just want to show you this chart because I had it on my radar today. It just held the yearly VWAP and pivoted from it. So I think this is actually a pretty good jumping off point because you have a very low risk entry still. Even on this news, normally I don't buy into news, but it was pivoting anyway. I kind of like it more for a swing, you know. I've done actually pretty well. All these pivots I was involved in lift. I'm actually a little disappointed. We did lose. I had some $20 calls up there, whatever, lost on those. But you got to pivot, and I got my eye on it. But let's go back to this these trades. So NVTS. You guys know about this stock? You should. Buy it right now. You don't have to buy it right now. But company was left for dead. Chip company, garbage, awful, until NVIDIA mentioned them. And next thing you know, it's a new company. Because that's another part of 2020, 2025. Your stock's not doing well, call up NVIDIA, have them mention you, and next thing you know, you're going 10x. Your stock's not doing well, say something about MicroStrategy and buying some shit coin as part of your treasury, and your stock goes 10x. This is the dumbest time to be alive ever. But it's fantastic, and you just go with it, right? I'm not overanalyzing the most ridiculous bullish market I've ever seen in my life. You want to run everything 10x? Let's go. Works for me. So NVTS, the stock was left for dead. Nobody cared. Wham! From $1 to $7.50, and then it got dumped, but it got bought again. Then it got dumped, and then got bought again. That's bullish, right? And all the time staying above its yearly. This is its yearly VWAP, right? So that's my out. If I'm wrong about this name, and I own it, and I've owned it since the NVIDIA news. But today, let's go through the checklist, right? Did they report earnings? They did. Are they gapped down? They are. What do we do when we see a stock that's gapped down, that reported earnings? Are we looking to short it? Why? It's already down. Look for when it makes the turn, and then if it breaks the VWAP, the algorithms kick in. The shorters who have their stops at VWAP are going to get stopped out. The longs like me who are looking to buy at VWAP are going to buy. So you have your premise, your thesis, and your idea, and then you get the Fo Sho Bro. You see how it rallied, came back, broke some recent lows, then came back and broke VWAP. Fake out, shake out, VWAP, breakout. Now in this case, I was a little embarrassed at the time, but I really wasn't. We got up to 728. The VWAP was telling us at the time it was 7, well, it's kind of adjusted now, but now it looks like it actually is perfect because the multiple time frame VWAP is 724. You'll have to take my word for it. At the time, it was 732. So it was right, 732. So our target was 732. I'm sorry, Jimmy. We only got to 728. I was 4 cents off. But we were loaded with the stock. Not 200 shares. It's a $6 stock. We started with 3,000 shares. Some players had 10,000 shares of this thing. The Wizard probably had 20,000 shares. We won't talk about the Wizard. Sorry, I mentioned the Wizard. The Wizard had 20,000 shares. And what do? Every trade's exactly the same. Checklist, earnings, gap down, breaking VWAP. You're in. What's your stop? Your stops are the pivot points. So your stop was the 624, and basically that was our only one because it was more or less a double bottom. So we only had that one stop. So we're buying here at 646, and we're risking basically 20 cents. But what's the reward? The reward's waiting for us at the orange line. So, okay, I'm buying a stock with 20 cents of risk to possibly make myself 80 or 90. Not bad. I'm in. And again, how do we stay viable and how do we stay in this industry and how do we make our money? Sell into the move. So if we were in, again, selling some at 675, no brainer. Got to 7. So if you're asking yourself, why are you selling it if you think it's going to 730? Because what if it doesn't? The target's there. The entry price is where I say you're getting, this is where the guarantee trade, I didn't mean the guarantee. The trade that's been working flawlessly is the entry, the VWAP break on an earnings report that's gap down. So our ultimate goal is 730 or 734 at the time, and hopefully it was to go green. But if you're in from 650, and again, I was in late at 670, I'm selling 687, which is 6 7/8 for my old school players. At 7, I'm selling some more. At 712, I'm selling more because I'm such an old school guy. I love 1/8 of a point. By 725, I'm almost done. You know, I got 600 shares left. I'm expecting it to go to the orange line and then some. But then what happens? It starts to roll over. Am I freaking out? No. I've sold some into the move. And then it starts to chop around. And I said, all right, if it breaks back below that last pivot point, I'm going to have to say bye-bye. And that's where I sold it. And if anybody pretends that they're buying low and selling the high and the whole position, they're lying to you. And let me talk about more scammy stuff while we got your attention. The track record itself, it's bullshit. It's bullshit. You want to know why? The track record sells. The win rate sells. You see, I tell people that something works every time. Obviously, you're interested. And this time, it's not bullshit. This trade works every time. But again, it's about your risk management and your discipline. Inevitably, some of these trades aren't going to work. And look, this one, you had to trade out of it, just like the hinge trade, just like the other ones I'm going to show you. And I only got 12 minutes to hang with you right now. Time just flies when we're doing this, and I'm glad you guys are watching. My name is Kenny Glick. My website is hitthebid.com. My email address is kennyglick@aol.com. Contact me. I'll get you a free pass to the website so you could laugh and giggle your way to the bank like the rest of us. When you sell into the move and then the stock rolls over, you just get out at prices where you sold on the way up. No harm, no foul. Trade's over, right? And that's how you do it. And what is awesome about this trade is that the entry points have been gold. So NVTS and the HIMS. Now, if you guys are watching, give me the two other trades that you think I might have been in today. I'll give you a hint. They reported earnings. Huh? Anyone? Remember the wig? Yeah. Palantir. Am I by myself again? Ryan's at least watching, right? Okay, so listen. This one, I had to really fight my urge not to short it because the opposite of HIMS, I freaking love Palantir. I've been in this thing since IPO, and I'm never selling it. It's pretty much one of those stocks I own. Never selling it. I think it's going to 250. I think it's going to 500. I think it's going to 1,000, and then it's going to take in private by the government, and they're going to go clandestine. The reason I bought the stock, and if you guys ever read about what Palantir was 12 years ago, they killed terrorists. I'm in. That's what they do. They kill terrorists, and they help the United States government and the CIA with clandestine operations, and they spy on people. I love it. As soon as this thing came out, I was like, I'm in. $10. That doesn't mean anything to me now, because now I got to go through the checklist. Did Palantir report earnings? Yeah. They're gapped up. You sure are. What am I looking to do? I'm looking to short it? But you love this stock, Kenny. I know. So I had to fight through that and say, all right, if you give me the setup, I will short the Palantir even though I don't even want to. Stock opens up, rips everybody's heads off. We're laughing, we're joking around. Oh my God, thank God we didn't short this one. And then suddenly it breaks VWAP. I'm short. And I got short right there. And I'm shorting it 173. And I'm looking at the top of this candle at 175 and 176 as my risk. You know, and again, I didn't go crazy because I am definitely afraid to short the stock. And I do think it's going to 250. But because it checked the box, did they report earnings? Are they gapped up? Is it breaking VWAP? I'm required by VWAPian law, which I have tattooed on my back. I have to short it. I have to try. So I go 200 shares. It goes right back to the prior candle where we covered some, and then it starts ripping in our face, and we get out. So right here, I ain't going to bullshit you. I'm thinking, holy shit. It's going orange line. Yeah, let's short Palantir. And then you turned and you say to yourself, well, that short was short-lived. I'm not going to die. And you get the hell out of its way. And I covered as soon as it broke back over the VWAP. So within 3 minutes, you got paid. And that's day trading. You want to get paid. You want to take trades that work, and you want to get paid. But remember, it's a job. You just can't put a trade on and think, all right, now I'll just sit here and collect my money. You got to work. And in this case, you got to get out. This was a 3-minute trade. But then look what happened. Consolidation, tries to roll, doesn't. And then it does. And I was like, oh, maybe I should short it again. By the time I even thought about it, they were already starting to rally. But then you see that move right there? That's the opposite of the Faux-Show-Bro. So I'm going to show you something really cool. Now, see how it faux-showed and then broed right here? Broke a new low, then it came back. That's the Faux-Show. It also works on the top. So when you see a stock break a new high, then rolls over and breaks the candle from where it came from, then breaks VWAP, you got to address that. So I'm going to show it to you a lot of people don't see shorting on a chart like you should. So put a minus sign next to pound here, and it flips the chart over, right? So wouldn't you buy it right here? Fake out, shakeout, VWAP, breakout, right? So if you'd be buying it, just hit the sell button first. That's what shorting is. You're just selling it first and buying it back. So if you didn't see what I did, I just flipped the chart over so you could see it as if it was a buy. So now I'll go back to reality. In reality, it set you up for another short, and then it tested the VWAP from underneath, confirming your delusion that you could actually make money shorting, and it worked. And of course, shorting is short-lived, and you're going to die. It got down to the pre-market pivot. That's why we draw our lines there. It held. You're forced to cover, and then on the way back up, you ain't staying short. Once it breaks back above those levels, you get the hell out. Winning trade. Now, I'll show you one more. SRAD. Anybody know about this stock? Well, if you don't, buy it right now. You'll thank me in 2 years when the stock's at 50 bucks. SRAD is a company that I am intimately familiar with. I've owned the stock now for 6 months, which is pretty much long-term investing for me, except for the Qs, which has been since inception. SRAD, special place in my heart. I'm a degenerate gambler. I love sports gambling. I love DraftKings. I love FanDuel. I love live betting. I love it. Live betting is the greatest invention since zero-date options. Live betting. Like yesterday when the Yankees went up 3-0, you know they're still going to lose because they suck, and now you can get odds in your favor. Imagine calling Joey your bookie in the middle of a game. First of all, they don't answer the phone. Second of all, they'd be like, Kenny, the game started 2 hours ago. I ain't putting a bet in now for you. Well, come on. I think the Yankees are going to blow the game here. I'll put 50 bucks. Give me like 150 if I'm right. Hello? Hello? But now on DraftKings, you could do that. SRAD collects the data, processes all the data for all the gambling websites. So you like gambling? You like all these new toys and inventions all the kids are playing with? Right? SRAD. Nice conservative investment. And it's fairly new stock. Right? Here's your 5-year chart. This thing came out of the doldrums. This is what we call the Andy Dufresne. This is multiple time frame VWAP. That's why we started loving it. There's the Trump candle where he told us to buy stocks. We're never going to go down again. And the stock's just been consolidating and breaking out, consolidating, breaking out, consolidating, breaking out, consolidating, breaking out. So now I took advantage of this sell-off because it just sold off to the prior breakout area. I'm back involved on SRAD. I think this thing's going to go to 50 bucks. But who cares about what's going to happen in the next 3 years? I want money now. Now. Okay. You want money now? Let's go through the checklist, my friends. You guys know about SRAD? Well, now you do. They reported earnings. Are they gapped down on earnings? They are. What do we do when we see stocks that are gapped down on earnings? We're looking to buy. When? VWAP break. How about a faux show right there? VWAP break. Whee! Got paid a little bit, sold some, right? Rolls over, got stopped out of the rest, and then what happened? Fake out, shake out, VWAP break. I'm back in. 27. And this time, the shakeout never broke down under that area. And we waited and we waited. And lo and behold, just a coincidence that it got back to prior day VWAP. It's just a coincidence. That's sarcasm, if you don't know. It's not a coincidence. Stocks, when they get through the today's VWAP, they generally revert back to prior day VWAP. And when you join my website, and you get your first 2 weeks, you will start to see how this chart will be the only chart that you need. And I will be the only commentator you'll ever need. And you'll realize that, shit, I really wish I would have taken this guy serious when he first started doing commentary on YouTube at 07, when I had my kids with me. My children have actually grown up on YouTube. And because I've taken this industry, I treat it like a joke, because it is a joke to me. We know the game is rigged. We know it's manipulated. We know there's fraud everywhere. I just like saying it out loud, and people get upset about that. And people who have MBAs, they really don't like me, because I know your MBA doesn't make you a good trader. You might think you know about the market, but you don't. Guys like me and people that trade with me, we know how the market works, because we are the market. And there is nothing I have ever seen, and I don't think anything will ever come along that works as well as what we do here. And it works on every stock on multiple time frames. And I'll just give you a couple more examples of some trades that we were looking at. Caterpillar, right? Check some boxes, right? Did they report earnings? Yeah. You guys heard of Caterpillar, right? Did they report earnings? They did. Was the stock down? It was. Do you see the Faux-Show-Bro? You do. Fake out, shake out, then it broke the VWAP. Buy it. 532 entry, got you 538. Sorry, 438. That's a 6-point trade. How you doing? So before I go, anybody want to see? I will show you. I could do this on any trade. You guys got any symbols you want me to look at? Works on penny stocks, works on crypto, it certainly works on futures. It works on everything. And within 2 weeks, you will be absolutely stunned and flabbergasted. And then I will bestow this chart to you as a member of my website. Anybody got any questions, concerns, death threats? If you don't, NTRA. All right, there you go. Somebody's interested in something. NTRA. Here you go. Faux Show Bro VWAP break. Thanks. You see how it broke a new low, then it comes back, fake out, shake out, VWAP break. How about that entry at 135 for a 5-pointer? SOUN. All right, little choppy, but look. Right? Little choppy, but look at that move right there. Breaks those recent lows, makes a new low, comes back, breaks VWAP. Faux Show VWAP Bro. So your entry would have been 1092. Stock went to 1130. It's a winning day trade. Nice. ALMU. Never heard of that one. As a matter of fact, okay. When you see almost like Morse code on the chart, that means there's not a lot of volume. Usually, if there's not a lot of volume, I don't even trade these stocks. So it's probably a low volume stock, right? But even the low volume stock, you got your little faux show right here. See where it broke a new low, then it came back, tested that spot, and now you're at VWAP. if this had volume and I knew a little bit more about this and it didn't have a 50-cent spread, I'd probably be involved right now. But I don't trade stocks like that because you have zero advantage, even as skilled as I am as a trader with this wonderful setup that works almost every time. I wouldn't trade this stock because you got a 50-cent spread on a $20 stock with 120,000 shares trading on it. Cross it off the list. Not interested. So I apologize. If you own it, it doesn't look bad. But for a day trade, you want some volume. You want some real volume. But it doesn't look bad right here. The setup's right there. If you want, I know it's 1 o'clock. I don't know if Ryan, we got to go, but you guys want to? I could do. Anybody got some more symbols you want me to look at? I love it. And I'll just I could always show you a couple more stocks that I like. The bull trade. If you guys did know me a couple of years ago, I'm the Carvana guy. I told people to buy Carvana at $7.50 because it was coming out of one of my favorite chart patterns of all time. This might sound funny to some of you, but this was the Dolly Parton, triple Kardashian, Andy Dufresne bottom. I've only seen it twice in my life, and Carvana was one of them. I've never seen it. I haven't seen it since, but it was the Dolly Parton, Kardashian bottom. And if you don't know what the Andy Dufresne is, the Andy Dufresne was the stock goes sideways for a given amount of time. And then there's that multiple time frame VWAP. And my target on Carvana was 120 when it broke $7.50. And people thought I was nuts. The stock went to 400. The only other pattern that was sort of like that was Hood. And obviously, you know what happened to Hood when it broke over that orange line. That's $16. The stock went to 120. Bull is the same chart pattern now. You see how it popped, crashed, and now it's gone sideways. It's come out of the Andy Dufresne. If you want to know more about Andy Dufresne and Kardashian bottoms, please join the website or send me an email. We'll hang out Thursday night. You'll get to meet some of my friends, and we'll have a few beverages. LIDR, there's somebody that's participating in some stocks today. I freaking love this stock. Yes, I do. And we were involved in the pump and the dump. And today you got a little Faux-Show-Bro action. Once again, mentioned by NVIDIA brings life to these stocks. You got your faux. We traded the stock this morning right on the first Faux-Show-Bro. This was one of our first trades. This was pre-market. And then we had it right here, a little Faux-Show-Bro VWAP break. We got paid. This one, luckily, we had to get stopped out. We lost a little bit because our entry was, 298. I let it breathe a little bit too much, and I got stopped out at 286. Who cares? You're going to take some losses every once in a while. But I like this stock. I don't know why, but I like it. I don't know why, but I like it. You want to know why? I'll show you why. Here. You want to see a nasty looking chart? The nastier the chart, the better. Right? Here's a 10-year chart on LIDR on a weekly. Oh! Oh! 2 reverse splits. Oh. Now, I ain't saying the stock's going to $430, right? But because it's had 2 reverse splits and there's a lot of people involved now, that's why we liked it. You had those 2 spikes, we got over it. If this thing really does wake up again, if you see LIDR trading above this, what was that peak? That was the 720. If you see LIDR, and again, if you even see it trading above 5, you should be involved. Keep this one on the radar. This chart is so nasty. I love it. Because if it gets going again and it starts to get squeezed, I'm thinking it's going to $25. Seriously, I like this name. I like the bull too. When you got GFS, I don't like that at all, whatever that is. That's nasty. That looks like a choppy, disgusting mess of a stock that's going to 0. What is that? That's awful. Look at that. That's the most choppy, disturbing. Look at how many times they suckered you in trying to think this thing was going to start staging a recovery. That is gross. Ugh. Hope you don't own it. Oh, man. That's terrible. Yeah, that's terrible. This thing's, once it breaks under that 29, this thing's going to $25 and then zero. I don't know what GFS is, but I don't like it. PCT. PCT. Eh. Looks like you just got a pump and now a dump. Let me see on the. Actually, you know what? If you look at, not a lot of volume either, but if it could hold prior day VWAP and get back above the 1 minute, that's a day trade trigger for us. Oh, fan of the bull? Yeah, I am a fan of the bull. Yeah. And I know it sounds silly, but how do you not like a stock with the ticker's bull? What more can you ask for? It should say buy me instead, which would be a great symbol. And speaking of great symbols, yeah, I mean, I love the bull trade. And what I really like about it is every time it sells off, the buyers keep showing up. And if you can just get back above that 16 and change, if you can get over this triple top now, my target, near-term target's 2190. But if you can get into these upper candles, this stock could go easily. Looking right, see where the breakdown price and the top of that candle is? That's 3250. I think you see 3250 on the stock. I really do. But this is not Robinhood. They're not as popular. They don't have nearly as much going on as Robinhood does. Robinhood, phenomenal. I don't like it anymore because it's 10x from where we owned it. Not interested in Hood anymore, but I like these coming back. Yeah, cup and handle chart pattern. Yeah. I dig it, man. You're seeing it. But for me, it's all about price action and that multiple time frame VWAP. So listen, my email, kenny@hitthebid.tv. That'll go right to my corporate overlords. They'll set you up with trials and, but if you want to just hang out Thursday night, email me directly. I'll send you a link and a private password. Thursday night, I'm going to have a guy that has a software that scans for institutional buying, which is interesting because that's what we do. He's a guy I've become very friendly with, Jay Sutherland from Trade Pulse. They were working with the guy from Trade Ideas, not Merkin, the other guy, Dave Arafat. And we tend to have guests. If you guys on Stocktwits, Don Corleone, right? Stocktwit Member of the Year, just got 50,000 people, followers, whatever they call them. We're doing a podcast together, so that's going to be cool going forward. But yeah, if anybody wants to reach out, Kenny Glick at AOL goes right to me. Kenny@hitthebid.tv will go to my corporate guys, and hopefully I'll get to see some of you guys live. And seeing this stuff in action, you will be amazed. And 30 years later, and I've been doing this trade now pretty much exclusively since 2013, 2014, really since let's be fair, the last 5 years is pretty much all I'm doing now. I mean, I do other trades, but nothing like this. This is the way to day trade. And it's working at an alarmingly, obviously it's 100% over the last 3 years. And again, let me just requalify that statement. That doesn't mean you're buying something at 9:30 and holding it till 4 o'clock. That hinge trade was phenomenal, but you had to get out, right? All right. Nice seeing you. Good to see you, Rye. Stocktwits, all my friends on Twitter. I still call it Twitter because I'm old. Contact me and I'll show you more. And if you guys are interested, August 16th, it's a Saturday, right? And I take time, and my wife hates when I do this because she's got things for us to do on the weekend. I'm like, just give me a couple hours. August 16th, between 12 and probably 2, I'm going to do another chart crunching session and, show people where to get in, how to the checklist of why you're trading. Every trade I put on, I know why I'm getting in, where I'm getting in, where I'm getting out. And that's all there is. And it's so black and white, or in this case, blue and orange. There's nothing else on my charts. All you're going to see is VWAP and prior day VWAP. And it's the way, in the words of the Mandalorian. This is the way. And you see what's happening right now for my fans that think the market may actually stay down today? You see how the 1 minute and the multi-day are colliding right here? If you break through there, you're going to go probably where you broke down from. So that's kind of what I'm looking for right now. I'm flat. I don't have any trades on except for my SRAD. If the Qs turn, I don't mind chasing a little bit, because if you break through blue and orange simultaneously, more often than not, you're going to get another move. And if, again, that's a 2-point rip. So if you break here, you're probably going to go there. And with weekly options, what are we looking at? We're looking at the 460, sorry, the 562s. I'll be stalking those for later. So right now, you see how they're under the VWAP? That's why I like trading at the money options. So now I could watch the option contract itself instead of the stock. And, you know, again, if you're buying them right here, 70 cents, you're risking 30 cents. And hopefully we're looking at, you know, $1.85 later on today. Now, again, I'm waiting. I'm waiting because I'd rather wait for the break, especially at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I tend not to put trades on. I'm sitting pretty with a 4 for 4, 5 for 5 day right now. Took a small loss on, you know, some bullshit, but these trades have been working like clockwork. It's just phenomenal stuff. All right. Thanks for stopping in. I'll see you guys hopefully in the room or maybe even Thursday night.